Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Kris and Sam, the Answer Ma'am. I'm Kris Daniel.
And I'm Samantha Hickey.
And we are right here at the best brokerage here in Macomb County, JD and Associates Realtors. So today we have a question that is probably the awful word that none of us want to hear, either as a realtor or a buyer or seller. What is that word, Sam?
Probate.
Probate, Probate.
Not fun.
Not fun at all. So many people don't want to talk about probate, but it's really important to understand how it works, especially when it comes to the real estate side of your family. Stick with us today and we'll explain how you can potentially avoid it altogether, because that's the best answer. So Sam, what is probate?
Probate is the legal process of settling someone's estate who has passed away. And that can be whether you have a will or not. Just because you have a will does not mean that you get to avoid probate.
So what would the basic steps of probate be once you're into it?
The basic steps: get with an attorney. They're going to help you out. They're going to know specifics to the county that you're working in. They're going to file some paperwork to open up the probate estate. You go before the judge. You get approval for different aspects of the estate.
Providing, an executor, paying any debts, distributing assets in the will, and that can take months.
It can take a while. It can be quick. It can take a while.
Well, the minimum time that you're going to be involved in this would be at least 45 to 60 days, because once that loved one passes away and you're involved in probate, it takes at least that long just to get a court appointment to go before the probate judge and open your case. Some common misconceptions: people think that just because there's a will and everything is straightforward, there's going to be no probate, but unfortunately, it's usually still involved, and it can be, like we said, a time-consuming and a very costly endeavor, and it will, definitely eat into the family estate.
So the best thing you can do, of course, is avoid probate. And two big things that are not fun about probate are everything's public. That's not comfortable for a lot of people, but everything through the court system is public. So if you avoid probate by setting things up ahead of time, hopefully you don't have to go through that. And then the emotional toll. So you're already dealing with a lot of grief because your loved one passed away. And then to have to deal with the court system, the public, it's just a lot for anyone.
Not only that, but the best of families can disagree. And, we have personal examples of this, where right at the closing table, we have family members walking out to the parking lot to cool off. We'll get to that in a minute here. So how can we as real estate professionals help, Sam?
Well, there's two basic ways, the easiest ways. One is to set up a trust, a living trust. That trust assigns trustees or beneficiaries as to who can handle the estate and sign for it after the original trustees pass. The other way is to, specifically in real estate, is to create a joint tenancy on your deed. So that could be Kris and I own a house, both of us pass away. Who does it go to? That's where probate comes in. But if we had a third person, maybe Kris's grandchild, it goes right to her.
And that's called joint tenancy. And what's the easiest way to create joint tenancy?
Is by doing a quitclaim deed.
Right.
So we have attorneys that we know and trust. Even title companies can help out with that. Maybe it costs a couple $100 plus recording fees, and then you don't have to deal with probate.
And here's a little tip that I just popped in my head. It happens once in a while. It's a good idea to get on the Macomb County or the St. Clair County or the Oakland County Clerk's site. Check and see if there's any erroneous quitclaim deeds on your property. I mean, what if somebody's quitclaimed your loved ones or your father or your mother's deed? You don't know about it, and all of a sudden, when it's time to probate that deed, you've got clouds and you've got problems, and you don't know who those people are or what happened. So check on your title. And again, title fraud is happening too, so it's always a good idea to keep track of who's on your property title.
Yep.
So if you're in the probate process and you need to sell that property, we can definitely help you navigate the sale and ensure that you meet all these legal requirements while getting the best price for your property, handling showings and everything else. We handle complicated estates too. We have the attorney power. Sometimes there's multiple siblings.
Mm-hmm.
I personally have an example, and we can get into that now, where there was 32 first cousins involved and no direct descendant like a son or a daughter or a mother, father, wife, husband. And it was all in the hands of the probate attorney.
Mm-hmm.
And the probate attorney, first of all, decided he was going to wait 4 or 5 months for a better offer on the property we were bidding on to even give us an answer on our bid. So you're already in a hurry to kind of settle things with the family. You want to get this over with, and you never know what the delays are going to be. So again, the best thing to do is to get a living trust or joint tenancy in place before anything happens to you, your wife, your loved ones, your mother, father. We're at that age. I'm a baby boomer, and you're, what are you, Gen
I don't even know.
Q, Gen X,
I don't know. I think
Gen
I'm a millennial.
G?
I don't know.
Yeah, she's a millennial, but the thing is you need to be worried about your parents,
Yeah.
grandparents, and we need to be worried about, do we have something in place if I pass away tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And it's not just for the elderly. Anything could happen at any time. Car
accidents happen.
accidents,
That's why they call them
sicknesses.
accidents.
I mean, having your estate figured out early is the best policy.
Right. So planning ahead is a big part of this. So Sam, do you have an example of something in
I
probate
do
that
have an
happened to you?
example, and this kind of speaks to not only having a trust, but keeping it updated. You need to update it, I would say, at least once a year. Check in with your attorney that put the trust together and make sure it's accurate. Are the successor trustees who you want them to be? Are your kids, when you set up the trust, were they under 18 and now they're over 18? I mean, these are things you really need to consider.
Right.
So with this transaction I had last year, Grandma and Grandpa owned a piece of property. They had it in the name of their trust. Their trust specified that I think it was 3 or 4 children were to get the property. Well, the 3 or 4 children passed away. Grandma and Grandpa passed away. So now we have 7 grandkids who are not explicitly named in the trust.
Right.
It was a whole thing. So it took a little bit longer than we initially thought, but updating your trust is super, super important.
So the best way is to plan ahead. And we can provide that free consultation that will help you set up the trust or the joint tenancy
Mm-hmm.
and ensure that we can protect your assets and ensure a smooth transfer to your loved ones. So just to recap, probate doesn't have to be a stressful or expensive process.
Yep, it can be quick and easy. There's so many factors into it. Everything is a case by case situation, but we're happy to sit down and talk to you about what that looks like for you and your family.
Right. So give us a call right here at JD and Associates. What's that number?
586-273-2500.
So those last quick tips that are takeaways from today are, before we go, make sure your will is updated and consider using joint tenancy as a way to avoid probate. So before we say goodbye, we have
a jingle?
We have our very own jingle.
All right.
And if I can get my guitar on and remember it, we're going to play it for you. And it
See if
goes
he
like,
remembers.
yeah, well, this is the part that always makes me nervous. If you need an answer right away, call Kris and Sam, now don't delay. Kris and Sam can make the plan to buy or sell your home today without probate. All right, folks, see you next time.
Thank you.
I'm Kris Daniel.
And I'm Samantha Hickey.
Thanks for watching.